like a Ferris wheel circling around, off in an open field, firm in the ground, lost in the wilderness, not to be found. Give me your hand and I won't let you down. In a place I've never been, to find a way I'm wandering. Will you take my hand, or will you just keep spinning? Searching for 7 years, yearning to see. Tell me I'm getting near where you will be. Scarred from the moment when I saw you leave. How will it feel if I break through the trees? In a place I've never been, to find a way I'm wandering. Will you take my hand, or will you just keep spinning? I'm not about to figure it out for you. What will you do if I never move for you? For you, what can I say if there's not a way to you? To you, what can I do if I'm still in love with you? For you, what can I say if there's not a way to you? What can I do if I'm still in love with you? In a place I've never been, to find a way I'm wandering. Will you take my hand, or will you just keep spinning? In a place I've never been, to find a way I'm wandering. Will you take my hand, or will you just keep spinning?
Good evening, everyone. We're gathered here today to celebrate the marriage of Nina Chen and Tim Su. As many of us know, Tim and Nina have been together for quite some time. For some of us, it's hard to imagine a time when they weren't together. They grew up in the same town, they went to the same schools. In the time they've known each other, we've seen a couple US presidents come and go. We've been introduced to the iPhone, literally the first one. And we've endured more OSU victories than we care to remember. Basically, a very long time. Long enough for us to be able to look at them standing here today and think, Of course they're getting married. They were meant for each other. This couldn't have turned out any other way. And really, how could this have turned out any other way? Tim and Nina were meant to be. Except deep down inside, we all know better than that. Each of us, all of the beloved friends and family gathered here today, know better. And most importantly of all, Tim and Nina know better. They know better than anyone that true love is never guaranteed. It requires hard work, fierce loyalty, and an unyielding faith in order to thrive. To receive love, you must first give it, without reservation, without expectation, and the warmth of your lover's smile is your only objective. Attraction lights as easily as a match. Falling in love feels effortless, but a successful marriage requires more. It is a house built by two, which must be kept, repaired, and expanded continuously with renewed passion and unflagging commitment. These are the lessons of love, which you, Tim and Nina, both already know. If this day seems like it was meant to be, it is only because the two of you, united in love, have made it so. If your romance seems fated, it is because the two of you refuse to accept any other fate. The years have flown by, and it's easy to gloss over them. But as you stand here today, ready to lay the first brick in the foundation of your marriage, take a moment to reflect on that journey, with all of its highs and lows, the triumphs you've shared, and the challenges you've faced. Think back to all the kisses and the hugs, the arguments and the jokes, the fights, and the decisions to make up afterward. In preparing for today, I asked each of you privately, when did you know that this was the person you wanted to marry? Both of you answered in the exact same way, that there wasn't one specific moment, but 1,000 little ones, woven into the passage of the years. The two of you have truly grown up together and proven yourselves worthy of one another 1,000 times over. What more is there to say? I'll leave you with this. Tim, Nina, your love for one another has been an inspiration. It is a thing of beauty. Protect it. Savor it. We, your family and friends, swear to do our best to support you. Treasure the times of happiness which lie ahead, for you two have earned them. And the moments of sadness and difficulty, which are inevitable in this life, never forget that the two of you have already shown that you can overcome anything, together. May your marriage be a lush garden in which you plant something new and beautiful each and every day. And now to the exchanging of vows. Tim?
Nina, you and I have grown up together. You're my partner in crime. We've gone through a lot together, good times and bad times, but throughout the years, you've always been by my side. I know I can always count on you. The world's different when you're there. The best things in life are only the best when I'm there to share them with you. And the last 2 years in New York have taught me that. I was living in one of the greatest cities in the world, but it never felt that great because you weren't there. You're kind, you're genuine, you have a good heart, and you always look for the best in people. Maybe that's why you've stayed with me for so long. When we're together, I feel like we can take on anything. There's no one else I'd rather spend my life with. Today, I vow to be your partner in crime, to take on whatever comes our way, to love your family as my own, to live adventurously and without regret. I promise you this, for richer or poor, in sickness and in health, till death do us part.
Tim, you are my best friend. I don't think any words that I can say today can really express the way that I love you. Wow. But all I wanted to say is that how fortunate I am to have met you. We've come a long way from being young, naive, to really build and grow above that, we can really look and be proud of. Through the years, we've grown together independently, but most of all, I'm really happy to see that we've grown more and more in love with each other. You completely make me feel whole again. Some of my best memories that I've ever had have been shared with you. And as we've grown, we've made a lot of great decisions. You've helped me become a better person. You've encouraged me, made me a better version of myself. One of the great things that I'm really happy for is that you made me more comfortable, more confident in my skin. And I'm really happy that, got to share future with you. Standing here today, I promise to continue to love you each and every day. I promise to encourage you. I promise to dive into adventures with you. I promise to love your family the way that I love mine. I promise to love you even when we're old and gray. And most of all, I promise to be your partner in crime. Thank you.
You have sworn your love and commitment to each other with solemn vows, and with the giving and receiving of rings. It is my great pleasure to pronounce you husband and wife. Tim, you may kiss the bride. Everyone, I give you Mr. and Mrs. Tim Soo and Nina Chen.
But I have known Tim for a long time. In fact, from 6th grade, it was the first time I met him. Tim, he was a little bit chubbier back then. But the one characteristic has been constant this entire time, and it happens when he gets a ridiculous idea. His eyes light up, and he gets this smirk on his face. And the way that he'll look at you, it's almost infectious. You almost have to do exactly what he says, whatever the dumb idea is. I would like to think that throughout the years, throughout all the dumb things that we've done, all the ideas originated from Tim, and I was the co-pilot enjoying the ride. But we grew up together. We got off at the same bus stop, and one of the things that we used to do is when it snowed in Michigan, which it does a lot, we used to play King of the Hill, and it'd get so competitive after like an hour, it would actually become an actual fight. There would be pushing, and there would be light fists thrown. But with Tim, the next day was always fine. You always knew that your friendship was exactly the same, even though however hard you punched each other. And I think that's the mark of true friendship, one that can survive fist punch. We got so close that when middle school ended, and he decided to move to a different high school, at that time, that was the saddest moment of my life. I shed a couple of tears, and we stayed close though, even though he went to a different high school. And one of the dumb things that we did in high school, I'm sure Tim you remember this, is something called the hunt. So, so the all teenage boys, we try our luck hitting on girls, and then we talk about it afterwards. The various strategies that we use, in kind of like a nerdy strategic way, and. I remember distinctly one day he came up to me and he said, "Paul, I met this beautiful Chinese girl at Saturday Chinese school, and that the hunt was on." It came as everybody's a little bit surprised that that person ended up saying yes to going to homecoming with them. And this was sophomore year, I believe, and that was the first time I met Nina Chen, and they've been together since then. When we moved on to college, me and Tim were roommates, and I figured, I'd be meeting Nina a lot more, so I should get to know her a little bit. So I asked some of her classmates at Troy High what she was like, and basically what they told me is, Nina Chen is very smart. But she's a very serious type of person. She's very hardworking, and is generally, like very diligent. But this wasn't the person I met at all. She's very smart, but she was also, very spontaneous. She was very silly, and she seemed to have the same love of doing silly stuff with Tim, ridiculous things with Tim. I tried to think back of a specific anecdote of them doing something silly together, and a lot of stuff I can't say. But if you look very carefully at who they roomed with in college at the last year, I think that's something to consider. Tim has been like a brother to me, and he's one of my favorite people because he's smart, he's logical, and he's a forward thinker. But many times he throws all of that out to do something ridiculous. Which he does quite frequently. I would like to say, I want to thank Nina for, taking care of Tim all these years. But I feel like Nina has actually enjoyed doing the same silly stuff that I've enjoyed with Tim. I can't imagine, a better co-pilot for Tim in his future journeys than Nina. And I was hoping that you guys could join me in a toast for Tim and Nina.